Hello everybody, this is Miss Johnston here with our Unit 6 vocabulary for English 3. The first word on our list is absolve, which is a verb. The definition for absolve is to clear from blame, responsibility, or guilt. This word has a positive connotation. So if you are guilty of something or you are blamed for something, when you are absolved, you no longer carry that blame or guilt. So a good example sentence to go with our picture is in the board game Monopoly, you are absolved from having to spend turns in jail if you have a get out of jail free card. Number 2 is abstemious, which is an adjective. The definition for abstemious is not eating and drinking too much, characterized by restraint and self-discipline. So this is a word that is going to describe a person or a person's actions, not things. So if someone is not eating or drinking too much, you wouldn't say that the food is abstemious. You would say that the person not eating the food is abstemious. So a good example sentence is, the abstemious woman refrained from putting too much food on her plate in order to reach her New Year's resolution of losing 20 pounds. Number 3 is atone, which is a verb. The definition for atone is to make amends for a wrongdoing. So you make up for something you did wrong. Whenever you see this word in a sentence, you would see it with the word for. You would atone for doing something wrong because you want to fix it. That's the idea. So a good example sentence is, Dante wanted to atone for cheating on Ashley by bringing her flowers and taking her out for an expensive dinner. Number 4 is beneficent, which is an adjective. The definition for beneficent is performing acts of kindness or charity, doing good. And by that, I mean doing good for others, not just doing good for yourself. So a way that to help you remember this word too, since it starts in a similar way, beneficent is to benefit other people. So beneficent is going to be an adjective that describes other people. And in our picture here, we have a very famous person, a woman named Mother Teresa. So a good example sentence for that picture and for that person is, Mother Teresa was a beneficent nun who traveled the world to help people living in severe poverty. Number 4 is cupidity, which is a noun. The definition for cupidity is an eager desire for money or possessions. Greed is a way to think of this word. So if you could use the word greed in a noun, as a noun in a sentence, then you could use the word cupidity the same way. This is a negative connotation for sure. This is somebody who always wants to kind of like have more money, more material things, is very greedy, and would be very focused on that. So a good example sentence is, this old man has so much cupidity that he makes sure to keep all of his gold in a locked safe and counts it once a week. Number 6 is desecrate, which is a verb. The definition for desecrate is to show disrespect to something sacred or to contaminate or pollute something by turning it into something terrible. So this is often going to be associated with things that we hold sacred. This has a negative connotation because you're doing something wrong to those sacred things. So in connection to our picture, the sentence states, someone desecrated the gravesite overnight by smashing the headstone. Some other things that are held sacred that can be desecrated, you could think of other religious items. You could think of items that have a lot of symbolic meaning to our country, like a flag. The United States flag could be desecrated if someone does something wrong to it. Those are the kinds of examples that you'll want to use for desecrate. Number 7 is enthrall. I think this is going to be an easy one for you guys. It's a pretty popular word, pretty common word, I should say. Enthrall is a verb that means to captivate, charm, hold spellbound, or to enslave and imprison. And in that kind of way, it's really not in a negative way, but just to have so much attention captivated, you are enthralled by it. So for this example sentence and picture, it states, the woman was so enthralled with the movie that she couldn't take her eyes off the screen. Number 8 is gossamer, which is a noun. This doesn't have necessarily a positive or a negative connotation. And the definition for gossamer is thin, light, and delicate. So anything that is something that is thin, light, or delicate could be a gossamer. Make sure you don't turn this into an adjective because it's a noun. So a good example sentence is, spider webs can be considered a gossamer because they are easily broken when a person walks through it. Number 9 is hierarchy, which is a noun. The definition for hierarchy is a system with ranked groups, usually according to social, economic, or professional class. So you guys can see in the picture, we have a pyramid that shows the hierarchy of classes in ancient Egypt. This is really similar to how we have a pyramid for the Middle Ages, the caste system, to show the hierarchy of social classes. So you guys have that in your notes from the Middle Ages. And you can think of hierarchy there. The sentence to go with this picture is, during ancient Egyptian times and the Middle Ages, people were organized in a system with the richest people at the top of society's hierarchy. Number 10 is ingratiate, which is a verb. The definition for ingratiate is to gain favor or approval for yourself by doing or saying things that people like. This kind of has a negative connotation though, because as you can see in the picture, this would be somebody that's kind of considered like a teacher's pet, a brown noser, something like that, where you're ingratiating somebody, just playing to what they like in order to get your way or to get something out of it. So the sentence to go with the picture states, Molly tried to ingratiate her teacher into adjusting her grade by bringing her an apple as a small bribe. Number 11 is juxtapose, which is a verb. The definition for juxtapose is to place side by side for comparison. So a lot of the times when you have juxtaposed, you're placing things side by side that are sort of different from each other. And in this picture, you can see how this graphic artist did just that with color in black and white. So the sample sentence says, the graphic artist who created this image juxtaposed a black and white effect with a full color photo. Number 11 is knave. This has a negative connotation. Knave is a noun, and the definition is a tricky, unprincipled, or deceitful fellow. So this is someone who is going to be very tricky. This is someone who is going to try to deceive you in order to get something out of it. And knave is a noun, so that would be a person. Always going to be a person here. A sentence to go with our picture is, Jack Sparrow is such a knave because he devises tricky plans to get more treasure. Number 13 is nominal, which is an adjective. Nominal can be used in a couple of different ways. So, one definition for nominal is existing in name only, not real. The other definition for nominal is too small to be considered or taken seriously. So this can sometimes be small in size or small in amount. So for the first sentence that connects to the picture, no one takes the bark of a nominal dog seriously. So in that sentence, we're saying that the Chihuahua in the picture is nominal because of his small size. And in the other sentence, Jack's research paper only had a nominal amount of punctuation errors, so he didn't lose points in that category. So that would be where they have a small amount of errors, so it wasn't really a big deal. Number 14, we have two versions of this word and two different spellings as well. So we have odium, which is a noun, and we have odious, which is an adjective. This has a very negative connotation. This word can be connected to hatred and contempt. So our definition for odium and odious is hatred, contempt, disgrace resulting from hateful conduct, or causing hatred or a strong dislike. So since it has so much to do with hate and dislike, it's going to have a negative connotation. For the noun form of the word odium, the example sentence is, the terrorist was so full of odium that they devised a plan to blow up the White House. So if you can say the word hatred in a sentence, you can replace that word with the noun odium. For the adjective, we have the odious supervisor was never happy with any new ideas that came from his staff. So when we use odious to describe a person, it's someone who like never likes anything and is always displeased. Number 15 is pillage, which can be used as a verb and a noun, but it's going to have the same kind of definition to it. So for the definition of pillage, it is to rob goods by open force. Usually this happens in war, so that's our verb. And for the noun version, it's the act of looting, the act of taking something for yourself. This has a very negative connotation, and we have a couple of example sentences. For the verb, you would use it like this: the bandits pillaged the small village by robbing every house. For the noun version, you could say the captain went on a pillage to steal as much gold as he could. So for the first one, we have the action pillaging, and for the second one, we have the act pillage. Number 16 is precept, which is a noun. Precept, the definition is a rule that says how people should behave or act. So if you can use this word instead of rule, then you're using this word correctly. So a good example sentence is, a precept at every public pool is no running. Number 17 is punctilious, which is an adjective. The definition for punctilious is very careful about behaving properly and doing things in a correct and accurate way. This isn't necessarily a negative connotation. Sometimes it does sound negative, like in our first sentence that connects to our picture. The punctilious man made sure that his grass was cut quite precisely. This is a guy, we're describing him as punctilious because he's being very careful about the way that he cuts his grass, but he's also being very particular, and he's taking it a little too far. But this doesn't necessarily have to be kind of negative like that. It could just be behaving properly and carefully paying attention to what you have to do. So for the second sentence, the sentence states, the punctilious student always made sure she was in her desk and ready for class by the time the bell rang. That's not necessarily a negative thing. It's just her kind of behaving according to the rules to get to class on time by the bell. Number 18 is sanctimonious, which is an adjective. The definition for sanctimonious is pretending to be morally better than other people, hypocritically moralistic or religious or self-righteous. So this really has a negative connotation. These are the kinds of people, always going to describe people with sanctimonious. These are the kinds of people who just think they're better than other people. And they could have various different reasons for it. It could be morals, it could be religion, but they think they're better than others. So a good sentence to connect to this picture: this woman is holding a sign that says you have to be Roman Catholic to get to heaven. So this is her being sanctimonious because she thinks what she believes is better than other people's beliefs. So to write a sentence for that picture, it states, the sanctimonious woman was so self-righteous that she believed only people in her religion would experience heaven. Number 19 is sordid, which is an adjective. The definition for sordid is filthy, squalid, morally low, corrupt, or dishonest. So if something is sordid, it could be just like filthy and dirty, like it actually is like a t-shirt that has a lot of mud on it from like falling down in the rain or something. But it could also be something where we're talking about people who are corrupt or dishonest. So this has a negative connotation. To connect to the picture, the sentence states, the sordid police officer would take bribes from gangsters, so he would turn a blind eye to the gang's crimes. And last but not least, we have the word stringent, which is an adjective. The definition for stringent is very strict or severe, or a totally different way to use the word is to describe something that is sharp or bitter to the taste. So this has a negative connotation. When we think of somebody being very strict, that has a negative connotation. When we think of something that is very sharp and bitter to eat, that also would be negative. So for our example sentence for the strict and severe is on the left. Some teachers are very stringent with assignment deadlines and will not accept anything late. So that is something very strict that some teachers do. Or for the other definition about something being bitter to the taste, we have many people believe grapefruit have a stringent taste. So it's kind of like bitter and sour. And that's it, guys. So good luck with your Unit 6 vocabulary.